All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is April 14th. We got ourselves a Sunday and a full NBA slate, to dive into in today's video. But the last game is at, 3:30 p.m. Last day of the NBA season. Kind of crazy. We have 15 games, but we're probably going to kind of fly through some of them. But we're going to go through each and every game like we always do. I'll give you my lean on the spread. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that I like within the game as well. Not forcing anything today, obviously, because so many guys are sitting. Some teams, the game doesn't matter because of playoffs, yada, yada, yada. But guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment if you do want to fade me and do the opposite of my picks. All of those plays that I'm rolling with will be listed in the pinned comment. Back-to-back sweeps for us. We swept 2 nights ago. No NBA last night, but we swept 2 nights ago and swept the night before. So Thursday we swept, Friday we swept. And the great thing is 5 of those 6 plays that we hit, right? Plus money. So plus money Ev is out and about. So shout out to us, I guess. But let's go ahead and dive into this. I don't want to take too much time going through this. Our brain's fried. We just recorded the MLB video as well. So, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. But like I did mention, we're not forcing anything today. Some of these games, it doesn't matter. Some do matter. So we'll kind of talk through each and every one of them. Starting off with one, Boston taking on Washington. That doesn't really matter whatsoever. The starting lineup for Boston is Pritchard, Springer, Mychuk, and Hauser and Cornette. So it's like all of these guys are not normally playing, right? Brown, Holiday, Horford, Porzingis, Tatum, and White all out. We were at the Charlotte game a couple nights back, fairly similar here. So our play in this one probably still would be to lean towards the Celtics. You know, a bunch of guys are out for, I think it's Tyus Jones, Kuzma, Poole may not play for Washington. So I'm going to lean towards the Celtics because at least we could see the Celtics, these bench guys, like they do care and they do try to kind of make a name for themselves because they know they're not going to play much in the playoffs, right? So I'll take the Celtics in this spot. Total sitting at 226. A lot of totals here, probably going to be stuff that we pass on today because how can you judge a team's pace based on, their previous performance if some of the guys aren't even playing? So I'll lean towards the over because I think that being able to be a Celtics fan and know how some of these guys play is instrumental, but I don't necessarily think that these totals are going to be locks for today overall. But like I said, I'll lean towards the over. That's pretty good. We moved through that game pretty damn fast. Moving on to Cleveland taking on Charlotte. I promise I won't just speed talk through all of these. But we have Cleveland taking on Charlotte here. Cleveland, I guess they do have some. No, I guess they're not, right? They're 2 games above the Magic, so they're pretty much locked into their spot as well. So I guess this game might not matter all that much unless the Knicks and Bucks lose. I can't remember if they're a game and a half out or a game out of, that 3-2 spot. So nonetheless, guys, I do think that Cleveland does still care to win this game, especially given the fact that Cleveland kind of started to taper off, right? And, they've only won 5 of their last 10 games, and the wins that they have are Utah, Charlotte, Memphis. They beat Indiana a couple nights back. So it's not necessarily like they're playing their best basketball. I do think that they want to head into the playoffs playing better basketball because we know they've been injured and they've been all, bumped and bruised. And I believe they're sitting all of their guys today, which may be the indicator of them not being able to move up, right? But nonetheless, I still think that Charlotte is just that bad that Cleveland should be focusing on playing some good basketball. Like, they'll have Allen, Mobley, Okoro, Strus playing. It's just Mitchell's out. Garland, I believe, is unlikely to play as well. LeVert's out. Wade is still out. Sam Merrill's out. So there's some guys sitting out, some guys playing. I think Cleveland still wants to win and show that they're kind of playoff ready. That defense has been damn abysmal, and that's something that's going to be their edge in the playoffs. So give me Cleveland here, but I'm also going to consider the under 209. This should be sort of like a get-right defensive game for them here as they head into the playoffs. And Charlotte's offense already isn't good. Let's see if if the Cleveland defense can truly lock them up. I'm talking like 85 points type of thing. Is that possible? They probably don't care that much, but I do think that this is an under type spot. All right, Pacers taking on the Hawks here. The implications are the Hawks are going to be the 10 seed in the play-in, so that's not changing for them. But the Pacers, Magic, and Sixers are all tied right now for the 5, 6, and 7 spots. So I do think that the Pacers are thinking, okay, let's go and win this game. Doesn't look like they're going to be sitting anybody. Atlanta doesn't look like they're going to necessarily be sitting anybody for, a non-injury reasons, like Jalen Johnson's out. Clapella's listed as a questionable here, but Trae Young coming back. Now Murray, Bogdanovich, and Hunter are all expected to play here. So I do think that Atlanta, they're not going to punt this game, even though it doesn't matter to them, but it does matter a lot more to the Pacers here. Obviously going to be a playoff team, but it's a matter of like where they kind of rank in the playoffs. But 14 points, it just seems like it's a little bit too much here, especially with sort of, I guess, Trae Young coming back and the feeling of, okay, well, we're a play-in team, obviously, on the Atlanta side, but similar to what I said about the Cavs, like, we now have a healthier lineup. Can we try and work on things to keep games close and kind of get into this one, right? Which you've seen them play close games for the last, week and a half or so, with the exclusion of, I think it was Dallas and Denver, right? So 14 points. I don't care if Indiana really wants to win this one. We've had such a hard time betting on Indiana, betting on them and then betting against them this whole year. So take this with a grain of salt. But give me Atlanta here plus the 14 points. The total's at 239.5. Seems just a little bit too high. Like this is the last game of the NBA season. Should be some tired legs, ready for the playoffs. As like I said, both these two teams are in the playoffs. But I mean, it should just be like, all right, let's get this game over with, right? And also another thing to predict, we know how wonky some day NBA games are, right? All of these are afternoon games at latest. So I'll take the under in this spot as well. All right, Heat taking on Toronto. You look at that spread and you're like, oh, that's because the Heat really have to try in this game or do something, right? Not necessarily. Where they rank in the standings are in the 8th seed right now, 6 above the 9 seed, and a full game back of the 76ers. So I guess a win, if the Sixers lose and the Heat win, maybe that's something that would happen. I do expect the Heat to play hard. We've even heard Eric Spoelstra say in interviews, like, we're going to try and close off the season playing good basketball. So that's got to be why this line is where it is at, 15.5. It is a high line, but honestly, we just saw these two teams play. Was that two nights ago, and Miami won by 20-something points. So I'll lean towards the Heat in this spot. I think that they just have enough left in the tank, in a sense, to want to head in there. And we've heard their head coach, who is, in my opinion, the best coach in the league, be like, yeah, we're not going to take our foot off the gas. Kind of like that. In terms of the total here, it's sitting at 220. If Miami's going to play well, I don't think that they score 120 plus again, but I think their defense does exactly what it did last time, maybe even better. So I'll lean towards the under in this one. I don't really see how, Toronto can, can't hang with them or even score on them. So give me Miami, as well as taking a peek at the under here. All right, guys, before we jump into the rest of the games, and apologies if you think we're going through these too quickly, but at some point you got to realize that this is not the day to be hammering NBA plays, right? But what you can do, because you're going to get some discounted lines, is check out Sleeper. That's where you can go hammer, because now you have an edge when it comes to the lines and whatnot. The only thing I will say is that when you're looking at player props today, be careful if you think guys are going to play full minutes or whatnot. But Sleeper's going to be great throughout the MLB season and NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. So go check it out, guys. You can get these discount squares today. You'll also get your first deposit matched when you sign up over there. You can just download the app using code GUYBOSTON, GUYBOSTON, as well, and you'll get the codes. You'll get the discounts, you'll get the plays, as well as the 100% deposit match. Go check it out. Again, that link is going to be in the pinned comment. That's the easiest way. It auto applies the code. That link in the pinned comment, or just use code GUYBOSTON. 100% of your first deposit matched, but you also get some discounted squares today with that code. Go check it out. Sleeper, link in the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games. All right, Heat taking on the Bulls. Knicks taking on the Bulls here. Knicks are, like I said, kind of in that spot where, yeah, things can kind of tilt either way. They're in the 3 seed right now, but tied with Milwaukee. So I think the Knicks are going to work their asses off to try and get this win today. Chicago, playoff team. They're listed at the 9 seed. There's nothing that can happen that can change that here. So I don't think that they're going to, care all that much. Whereas the Knicks, you can see by that spread, and a lot of these big spreads, it's more, indicative of either they're playing a really, really bad team, or this team needs to try today. So I think that this is a Knicks spot. 15 points is a hell of a lot. But again, Jalen Brunson, like these guys on this team, Jalen Brunson being like, I guess the face of it, like they're going to grind anyways. Thibodeau's not going to let them take their foot off the gas. And now this game could matter to them. This win could matter. So yeah, I think this is a spot all day long for, the Knicks, even though 15 points is a hell of a lot. I also think it comes with some defense, but for them to win by 15, like it's not going to be they win 115 to 90, right? Like they're going to have to go score a bunch of points. So I'm going to lean towards the over in this spot as well. If this was 225, maybe I'd consider the under. But if I think the Knicks are going to kind of go, pedal to the metal here, I don't think it's going to be with defense like I do with Miami. I think this is going to be one where Jalen Brunson scores a bunch of points and that type of thing, because they really do want, like, this team should be fired up. Magic taking on the Bulls. Giannis is out in this one, and I just told you guys how, I guess, crucial this could be, right? So right now, Bucks 49-32, Knicks 49-32. A Bucks loss and a Knicks win could kind of shake this up a little bit, and then throw in the fact that if the Cavs win, they're going to be 49-33, just like the Bucks were. I don't know the tiebreaker there, but nonetheless, like this is a spot in which Milwaukee should want to win, but they're not in the best spot to win. Lillard's questionable, Giannis is out, Orlando's fairly healthy. Where Orlando ranks in the playoffs matters too. Like this should be one of the only games of a handful of games here on the slate that really should be played like a normal basketball game, because the Magic tied with the Pacers and the Heat in terms of where they rank as well, 5 through 7. So I like the Magic in this spot. We saw them try and beat the Bucks the other night without Giannis, right? And it didn't go so well. The Magic lose that game 117-99. Maybe this is a good revenge spot with them at home here. I will say Wendell Carter Jr. being questionable could be a big hit, but no Giannis. Like if you're going to tell me, okay, you can't have Carter and you can't have Giannis, obviously I think there's a strong advantage in the Orlando side not having to play against Giannis. So give me Orlando on in this spot here. In terms of a total, right now it's sitting at 214.5. It just seems so super low, like too low to take in. I think this game finishes right around 220, maybe 217. 214 just too low for me, so I'm going to pull trigger, at least in terms of a lean on the over here. All right, Sixers, 16-point favorites here against Brooklyn. Obviously, very, very big number there. I do think that, Embiid, he's questionable. He should want to play in this game. Brooklyn, a lot of guys sitting out here. Schroeder, Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis Smith. Like, I do think that, this is like a spot in which the Nets are probably like, whatever, why are we still playing basketball? Like, I want to go on vacation. And the Sixers should want to win this game. So though that's a really, really big number, similar to kind of what we talked about here, you're going to have one team that wants it and one team that doesn't. And not to be a cliche, but I'm going to take the team that probably wants to win. The problem being is these teams that are like, say the Sixers get up by 15, with 3 minutes to go in the fourth, like I could see a backdoor cover so easily with some of these big numbers, especially a team like the Sixers, who I don't put them in the Knicks realm of like, they're gonna stomp on your throat when you're down type of thing. This could be a backdoor cover, but I just can't see the Nets they didn't seem motivated to close out the year, never mind literally at the close of the year. So I'm gonna lean towards the Sixers here minus the points. Total sitting at 215.5. I'll lean towards the under. I know I just kind of ranted about this Magic game and Bucks game being too low of a number, but I really think that the Nets are just going to go, whatever, like let's go on vacation here. So I don't think that they get to 100 points today, honestly. All right, that was the Eastern Conference. Now we get to the Western Conference. So all of those games, I believe, are at 1 o'clock, right? And then the West moves into the 3:30 games. So such a weird NBA slate. But we're starting it off here with Denver taking on Memphis. This is a game in which, obviously, I guess when you think about it, Denver would be probably favored by this much anyways, right? But you have the Thunder, the T-Wolves, and the Nuggets all tied right now. Thunder 56-25, T-Wolves 56-25, Nuggets 56-25. Like, Denver should want to go out there and win this game. Do they win it by 13 points? Potentially, maybe, right? Like, I don't want to say no, but you guys know I've been kind of saying it about Denver all along, is that I don't know if they cover these big numbers, and they look like they're waiting things out as well. No Jamal Murray, or questionable, sorry, all these guys questionable. Jamal Murray, Pope, Porter, Gordon, and Jokic. Like, everyone's like, are we going to play or not? So I can't imagine they just kind of fold and say, all right, the bench guys, we'll try and beat them with them. But right now, those guys, we don't know if they're going to play. So as crazy as it is, if those guys play, obviously I'd lean towards Denver, and I see them wanting to win this game. But if those guys don't play and, you take a gamble on that, plus 13 for, bench versus bench, or, end of the bench versus end of the bench type of a spot seems like a pretty good cushion to give. So, yeah, it's all dependent on who's playing. But I guess for, to summarize here, Memphis plus 13, question mark. Total sitting at 217.5. This is probably, Denver's pace and Memphis's, I guess, pace overall too. Like, I could see this being, 210 type of a finish. So I'll lean towards the under here. All right, Minnesota taking on Phoenix. Similar situation for Minnesota. Not similar, same situation we just talked about, right? They are tied with the Thunder and the Nuggets, so they should be out here wanting to play. Karl Anthony Towns game time decision, as is Anthony Edwards, so we definitely want to keep an eye on that. Healthy Phoenix team here in this spot. This is gonna definitely be an interesting one, because Phoenix doesn't necessarily have they're locked into their spot, but this is obviously a game in which could be playoff-esque per se. So I do think that it's going to be a close game, and the spread agrees, right? right? -2. I'm going to take Phoenix in this one. I think that, some of the spots that they can get to in this spot, like kind of, in the short paint or kind of from the mid-range, could be a good spot. I don't think that they're going to want to necessarily get to the rim, which is where Minnesota's strength is defensively, right? So if Phoenix can heat up from outside or even sort of from like in the paint, but not near the restricted area at the rim where Gobert doesn't necessarily have, an edge, I think the Phoenix can potentially win this game outright. My one concern is that, like I said, Minnesota wants this. Phoenix, I'm almost like hypothesizing that, they're like, oh, this is like a playoff game, let's get up for it. Like, I think they could move up actually if they do win, so maybe that's the case. But overall, this is probably going to be a spot in which Minnesota wants to try harder. So if this game gets off to like a lead from Minnesota, I think that they keep that lead. But for lean purposes here, I'm going to lean towards Phoenix. I do think that I've liked the basketball they've been playing. 6 of the last 10 games, beating the Clippers, obviously a banged-up Clippers team by nearly 20, winning that close game against Sacramento. They probably want to, with everyone healthy, finally almost, they probably want to head into the playoffs playing some good basketball. Total sitting at 217. I think if you're on the Timberwolves side, you want to look at the under. If you're on the Phoenix side, I think you maybe consider taking a peek at the over. They're going to play with a little bit more pace. So I'm on the Phoenix side here, even though that's kind of crazy. I'm going to lean towards the over. Pelicans taking on the Lakers. Lakers in the play-in, locked into the play-in right now. They are the 8 seed. Pelicans sit at the 6 seed, 1 game back of the 5 and 1 game ahead of the Suns in the 7. So either way, they're going to kind of be in that area, I guess you could say. Overall, this is one where, like, do the Lakers care? Are they going to? Because even them, like, they're the type of team or with the type of guys that could be like, all right, we're in the play and like maybe we go from 8 to 9 or something like that, but we'd rather LeBron and Anthony Davis be healthy for the playoffs, that type of thing. Brandon Ingram also listed as a game time decision here. Obviously he's been out for a while. I think I'll lean Pelicans in this spot, but I feel like I've been talking about the Pelicans so much lately where I just can't seem to trust them, and I have lost confidence betting on the Pelicans. So I will lean towards them. I think that this game, probably means a little bit more to them, especially historically, what we've just kind of seen when the Lakers get into a spot where they're locked in, they're kind of like whatever. So I'll lean Pelicans here, minus the 3 points. Like I said, they should try. They have guys healthy. Should be a spot in which is closer to an NBA game than some of these bench versus bench type matchups. Total sitting at 231. And I was kind of shocked when I saw that total where it is. And then the more you look into it, I guess it's not all that shocking, right? Like the Pelicans should be able to score from the mid-range, even a little bit from the perimeter here. And the Lakers, though I'm backing the Pelicans on the spread side of things, like this Pelicans team cannot stop a nosebleed at the rim. Lakers are going to get to the rim and score at the rim. And they're playing with one of the fastest paces over the last 10 games here. So I think this one makes sense to go over, even though it's such a high number for a last game of the year. OKC taking on Dallas here, such a high spread, which, makes sense. Again, we talk about, teams it matters for. OKC in that 1 seed battle. And Dallas seems like they might be punting this one away. No Luka, no Kyrie, Jones, Kleba, Exum, Washington, Gafford, everyone's sitting down, whereas OKC is, looking to win this game. They have everyone starting, they're fully healthy, and they want that 1 seed, right? But 19 points, man. I don't think I can lay 19 points. So even though it's the 1 seed, it's right now tied for 1 seed versus a JV team, I cannot see this being a spot in which, they win by 20 plus. Well, I can see it, but I just can't see myself betting that. So I'll lean Dallas plus the points here. Like this could be a 15-point win for OKC, dominant the whole way through, and then you're like, wait a second, they still didn't cover. So I'll take that. And maybe it is just given the fact that, Dallas, even though I say some of these guys like, everyone's sitting, but Hardaway's playing, Josh Green's playing, Dwight Powell's playing, like they have NBA players playing this. They're not a bunch of no names, you know what I mean? Total sitting at 225. To me, it's a little weird because you look at that and it's like, even just line reading that, like, why would you, like, a 19-point spread? That has to be an over type of a game, right? Like, there's no pull away potential if you're betting an under 225 and the team to win by 20 points. So I think this is an over all day long, in my opinion. Spurs taking on Detroit. It's like, okay, what do we do with this one, right? 2 of the worst teams in the league playing each other. Give me Spurs minus 4.5. For what reason? Just so that we can go ahead and move on. This is such a bad way to end the year. Wembanyama not playing either. Keldon Johnson still out, I believe. No Cade Cunningham, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this is just a messy game. But give me the Spurs for no other reason other than to say it. And then total sitting at 215, probably an under. Neither one of these teams have good offenses right now. I chuckle looking at this because it's like, oh, playoff implications. You get to this game and it's like, all right, Warriors taking on the Jazz here. So right now, Warriors are the 10 seed. They're definitely a playoff team, but they're tied with the Kings for the 10-9. So that does matter, obviously, depending on your draw and who you end up playing, and being able to have to play twice type of thing. So I get it, but I'm curious to see what the Warriors do here. Steph, Clay, and Draymond all listed as questionable. Utah has Colin Sexton listed as a game time decision, which that would be a little boost to them. So I'm not exactly sure what Golden State's angle is here. Maybe they don't really care, 10-9, that type of thing, because you are going to be in the bottom two at either way. So I don't think I have a strong take on this one, obviously, but I'm going to lean towards Utah plus the points because it's a little alarming just to see Steph and Clay and Draymond all listed as questionable. Like, are they not going to play? I think Kuminga's also questionable. Chris Paul's questionable. Like, everyone is questionable in this game right now. That kind of matters. So yeah, I think that's a spot where Utah might say, hey, we have nothing really to play for, but let's just try and score a bunch of points or something like that, which would also lead me into a spot in the over. I think this gets 225 and beyond, and it's a 222.5 total as of right now. Clips taking on the Houston Rockets here. Rockets got to be bummed. Like, they went on that win streak. They even had a decent start to the year, and they're still going to come up shy. Clippers game ahead of the Mavericks here in the 4-5 spot there. I think the Clippers probably look at this one and say, yeah, I don't think that we're going to, go balls to the wall. James Harden questionable. Kawhi is out. And like I said, you have a mad Houston team, so I don't like betting on Houston, and I'm not going to. I probably do lean towards the Clippers, but only because they're underdogs. Like, if this spread was even flipped and it was Clippers -3, I'd probably be like, I don't love it, you know what I mean? But they're getting points, regardless if James Harden plays or not. You'll have Mann, Paul George, Zubac, and a Houston team that, though I give them a little bit of credit because they had a good run and they should be mad. Maybe they want to prove a point, something like that. Like, oh, no, we are a real team. I just can't trust them on the road. I think they're a fake team. Like, they're good against bad teams type of thing. So I'll take the points, +3 with the Clippers. Total sitting at 220.5. It's probably going to be a slow-moving game. You have the Pacers and the Rockets, right? So I'll lean towards the under 220.5, but only by a couple points. Like, this isn't a strong take. And we made it through, guys. We're at our last game here. We have Sacramento taking on Portland. Like I said, Sacramento and Golden State 9-10 as of right now. This one's probably a game in which Sacramento wants to win, and Portland's, during the regular season, was getting beat by 20 points by some teams, right? So I'll take Sacramento -17. 213.5 is such a low total, but it makes so much sense, right? Like, you look at that and you're like, oh, it's an NBA game. Like, it's got to go over. Just like we look at even like Cleveland's, but neither one of these teams has that dominant defense. But you don't need a dominant defense when you're going up against Portland's offense. And Scoot Henderson might not even play today. I believe Ayton also may not play. Like, it makes so much sense. So though you look at this and say, this isn't like a Sacramento defense like Cleveland is, and where I could say they're just going to absolutely crush them, you have to lean over, right? No, you look at that offense, and it's like any team's going to look good defensively against Portland's offense. So give me the under in this spot as well. Guys, it's going to wrap it up for this video. I know this video is definitely a lot of, well, they're going to try harder than them because of this. It's the last game of the year. We're not going to force anything. It's a terrible betting NBA. Like, you have day games as well. You know what I mean? So this is probably a baseball and Masters type day for us overall. Don't expect too many plays down in the pinned comment, but we're gearing up and we are ready for NBA playoffs. We'll do a recap of the season, but in our first playoff video as well. So that'll be cool. But yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in. Hopefully your bets go well today. A lot of X factors and wild cards out there right now. But nonetheless, guys, obviously just don't go too crazy. Be conservative to start the year. You don't want to blow a really good NBA season on the last day because you're like, oh, I want to get some plays in. There's plenty to bet on today. But I'll leave you guys with that message, right? Let's close up shop. We're fried. 15 NBA games, 15 MLB games, and we did them all. Catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.